gonna be alright. Yeah. Cause me and my clique, we don't give a fuck. Sweet Daddy, good job, good job. If you know that you can get it, let me know. I want to break this thing up. Let's go. If you know that you can get it, let me know. I want to break this thing up. If you want some, come get some.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to FTW Future Focus. This is the last Future Focus of 2024, and as an added bonus, it is time for Old School! I am your not-so-humble correspondent, Robert Black, and below me is the silent but deadly man from Chicago, Illinois, and he has about as much use for women's professional wrestling as I do for men in shower caps. He is Marvelous Marcus Buckley. How you doing?
What's up, everybody?
Doing fine. It is old school time, and speaking of old skewel, I can't talk today. No, I'm sorry. Catty corner to me is the wonderful young lady from Charlotte, North Carolina. She is the queen of Motown Wrestling Group on Facebook. She is the Tigress Ty Nickerson. How you doing?
Where the old heads at? It's old school. Where the wrestling old heads at?
I have no idea, but you know, we'll work on it as the time goes by. But we got a lot to go through today, and our host our host for Old School, because it is his invention, the master of wine, women, song, and cigars, the president of Motown Wrestling Group on Facebook, my pal and friend and co-host of Smoke and Fire, which will be coming to you again, episode 2 soon. He is Tony Motown Allen. How you doing?
I am doing good. Got my beer. I'm all ready to go. Got my drink right here. Can't smoke my cigar right now, but I'm still gonna have some fun. Rocking a little Ric Flair for Old School.
Old School Ric Flair. 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah.
And Smoke and Fire returns. Episode number 2 is coming out on Saturday, so make sure you're looking out for that.
Yeah, sweet. Now, speaking of old school, we do need to give a quick shout out to the mastermind, Bobby Rogers, the president of FTW Network, the founder of our feast. He is going to join us for a few minutes later on in this old school episode for a quick word on something. He was recently in the hospital as recently as last night. He is okay. He was in for evaluation and tests due to the heart condition he has, but brother, we're right here for you, and we will see you in a few minutes. But right now we are going to start out our program with our moment and tap out of this past week. And since the purveyor and inventor of the tap out is with us right now, we will start out with Marvelous Marcus Buckley. What was your tap out for this week?
Well, my tap out comes from my favorite promoter, Tony Khan, and announced that for 2025, he is going to remain in charge of creative and the booker.
Oh,
that's all I'm going to say on that. I don't no further explanation needed. Matter of fact, that's my tap out for 2024.
I cannot blame you.
Wait, you know what's cool, Marcus? Your tap out for 2024 is going to generate quite a few tap outs in 2025.
Yeah.
If things remain the same, yes. I have to admit that Tony Khan needs a professional and someone familiar with the product in the role that he currently occupies. And as much as I love AEW, I'm not going to deny that they need a shakeup, and one of those things is the owner of the company not being the booker of the company. So Marcus, I applaud you for that tap out. Ty, what have you got this week?
My tap out goes to former executive producer Lee Fitting. He, in case y'all haven't noticed, he got let go for past comments against women.
Mm-hmm.
As a woman, I don't appreciate that. I don't like it. Coming in second, Tony Khan's booking. I'm sorry, but former New Japan manager, not manager, former New Japan, soon to be former New Japan president Hiroshi Tanahashi, or as I like to call him, Tana with the good hair, will make a better booker than Tony Khan.
Yes, I can't deny that. Can't deny that. Tony, what is your tap out this week?
You want me to go before you? Cause I got a feeling we got the same one.
All right. All right. Since fortune favors the bold, I will go next.
All right.
My tap out this week was splish splash. I was taking a damn bath. CM Punk coming out in a towel and shower cap to save someone in a steel cage match from the damn bloodline, in a save that was so damned ridiculous that it doesn't. I mean, this is it, huh? This is what we waited 7 years for the guy to come back, 2 years of disappointment after all the crap that we had to deal with the Bucks and AEW and all of that goddamn drama. Now Punk is doing in WWE essentially what Vince McMahon wanted him to do in the first place. And he has become a caricature of himself and doing idiotic crap like this on house shows in order to basically justify his existence in being there. And yeah,
which tap out. CM Punk, stay out my shower caps.
I realize that it's supposed to be a joke and that I'm being Mr. No Fun here, but goddamn, this guy is supposed to be the big deal. He was supposed to be the rebel. He was supposed to be the voice of the voiceless. And now he's a rodeo clown.
He's supposed to be best in the world, and now he's pulling this bullshit.
Well, yeah, now he's the wettest in the world. Ugh. And thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. I draw first blood this week. Oh my God.
Stay out my shower caps, Punk.
Exactly.
He is not the wettest in the world. That's AJ Lee when she's with me.
And thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. I knew that Motown could not be outdone in this department. Tony, if you dare, tap out.
I had two. That was one of them. Marcus, you gave the other one too, because Tony Khan getting the book again. Honestly, I was going back and forth a little bit more towards Tony Khan than CM Punk, because I just know what that's going to lead to. But me and Rob, we were talking about the CM Punk thing. I mean, it bothered me too, though, because it's like I don't see big stars, big deals, main eventers, people that want to main event WrestleMania doing that shit. Like this is like a Sami Zayn thing. This is the oldest thing. This ain't. I did not like it at all.
No. Even for a house show where no one's supposed to care, it was stupid as all hell.
And it is. I think what really rubbed me the wrong way was the fact that it was Punk, because all the stuff you spoke out about WWE, and you doing Vince McMahon shit. So
Yes.
yeah,
It makes it,
that
it,
was my 1A tap out.
yeah,
My
it,
1B.
it further confirms to my mind that he never meant a single word he said, and that the only reason that he ever did any of the shit that he did was because he wanted to be on top and he wanted to force the hand of anyone that hired him.
Now,
And
before we move on, though, I do want to like throw a little football out there. The Indianapolis Colts, to keep their playoff hope alive, only thing they gotta do is beat the New York Giants. And the New York Giants whooped that ass 45-33. The New York Giants have the worst record in football. And they eliminated the Colts. Playoff hopes. Good job, Colts.
This is the second year that happened. Didn't Jacksonville do it last year?
No, Jacksonville did it the year we hired Eberflus.
Okay. Oh, God.
Eberflus was the defensive coordinator for the Colts. The Jacksonville Jaguars, with their one win, their offense ran through that defense, and the Bears were like, ooh, maybe we should hire him as our head coach.
Yeah, that should have been a sign right there.
That was definitely a sign.
well, gentlemen, there is one silver lining here. Colts fans get the absolute pleasure of saying the name Eberflus. That's a fun word to say, Eberflus. I have never heard a more ridiculous, more fun name in my life. That name is a Cracker Jack prize. Eberflus.
There's no prize.
It sounds like something you'd put on a Christmas tree. Put the Eberflus on now, 'cause it's crisp and even. Okay. let's move on to moment of the week. Since mine is about as hard-hearted as my tap out this week, I'll go first this time. My moment was the dual rumors that both The Rock and John Cena are going to be too busy to be at WrestleMania 41 this year. I am very, very happy about those rumors, and if they are true, then the possibilities of Mania 41 being a watchable show just doubled. Cena has this new game or something that is coming out that he has to promote, Contra. It's based off of an old NES game, and The Rock.
That's been on PlayStation. That used to be my that was Nintendo.
Yeah, well,
Mm-hmm.
That
yeah,
was Nintendo.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a game I used to play with my dad, for God's sake. But yeah, there's that for Cena, and then The Rock has like Hollywood commitments that may keep him out of Mania 41, and I could not be happier about that. To my mind, that's 2 down, 2 to go. If we could get Lesnar involved in back involved with Vince McDiddy's Turdgate scandal again to keep him out of WrestleMania.
He's out. He's out.
Yeah.
They stopped talking to him about bringing him back. He's out.
The miracles are abounding. And
let's go back to Contra though, because I'm sure Marcus remember you playing with your friend and everything. That spray gun was the shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my favorite was the triple firing rocket launcher. Blew up every damn thing on the whole screen. I loved that thing.
I love that game.
Okay, so the only one left is Goldberg. If we can figure out some way to keep Goldberg out of WWE, preferably forever, that would be like the miracle of miracles in my eyes.
But here's the problem with that hope, Rob. Nobody's interested in Goldberg, so he ain't gonna have no kind of prior commitments or anything like that. Nobody's trying to put him in a movie. Nobody's trying to do shit with Goldberg. That motherfucker ain't doing shit.
Well, like Meatloaf would say, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. Well, okay, before I sing us to death, Motown, what's your moment?
My moment of the week, actually, this is gonna be weird that I'm saying that my moment of the week happened in AEW. It was Okada last night on the pay-per-view. First, honestly, let me rephrase that. It was Okada and Will Ospreay. and it was all three of those matches though. The two qualifying matches and then the finals.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. I liked Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is just, in my opinion, the GOAT. But Okada, I've been real disappointed with him, and he really showed me a lot and everything though. So if we could keep this Okada and not have the Bucks around and not be doing some of that goofy shit that he's been doing with them.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, I'm sorry, Rob. If we could keep him not doing WWE Vince McMahon shit in AEW, 2025 Okada as the Continental Champion, sign me up.
I'm on board with that. I am completely on board with that.
In my opinion, it was hard to pick a match of the night from last night, though, for Okada and Ospreay. That's my pick for match of the night, though. So
we will review. I think we will review, depending on what Bobby wants to do. Yeah, we'll review World's End eventually.
Because once we actually do, like, I do my actual figuring and like kind of revisit stuff. My match of the night is fluid. I'm kind of like hey Smith. It's fluid right now. It's that. When we talk about next week, I could be. That's
a good place to be, though. Considering the quality of stuff, that's a good place to be. Ty, what's your moment of the week?
All right, my moment of the week is a two-parter. Part 1, we're gonna start off with Ring of Honor's Boxing Day Brawl. Y'all remember I told y'all that Athena was gonna expose somebody from the MIT, which is Minions in Training. I didn't expect it to be Lexi Nair.
Okay.
Okay. Listen, hear me out. I thought Billy Starks was going to be expelled from MIT, but not Lexi Nair. That's Big Bill's wife. Why you? No. And when Athena was hugging Billy Starks, and Billy Starks was like, "No, don't leave me with her," I was like, Billy, if you're okay, blink once for yes, and twice for no. We gotta know if you okay. Okay, part 2. World's End. The return of my Sabu, Kenny Omega. I've been missing his sponsor for a long time, y'all. Oh my God. Woo.
Did we just get this ready now? Somebody got a little blade boner going on off screen there.
Yeah. I'll give that one a complimentary one. Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. Technically, it is a violation, but it's too cute to be upset about. Marcus, what you got for a moment?
Well, my moment is also World's End, but more so than the matches, which for the most part were really good. What I like is, for once, Tony Khan did it right, and I'm just hoping he sings out his own way and it doesn't fuck it up. He has me wanting to watch Dynamite and to see, based on a pay-per-view, which is what is supposed to happen, based on rated FTR and Okada's momentum and Omega coming back. They make me want to tune in to see where this is going to go. And that's the whole point of what a pay-per-view should do, is make you want to watch the show the next week to see what's happening based on the pay-per-view and hearing about it and making us fans want to buy the replay. I think he achieved that. Now, I'm once again going to be optimistic and see if this is going to be a turning point for AEW. I'm not holding my breath on it, but I'm optimistic again.
Well, that's amazing. If this were not old school, I would have a follow-up question for that, but we'll save that for
Just,
next week because
yeah, just hold it. Just hold it.
yeah, I have an interesting thing that I'll submit to the panel next week concerning what you just talked about, but we'll save it for next week because it is time for old school, baby. I love this concept. I love this format, and I will hand over hosting duties to the master of wine, women, song, and cigars, Tony Motown Allen. Let's go.
All right. The first one's gonna be kind of fun because anybody that know me knows how much I love Hulk Hogan.
Thank you for joining us on FT. No, that doesn't count. Don't mark that. That was my own personal foible there. Go ahead.
But our first subject is going to be an interesting subject, and I can't wait to hear what the panel got to say about this. And I think we have talked amongst ourselves about it before. We talked about doing this subject was one we were supposed to have ran with before, but for time reason we didn't. If Vince McMahon did not have Hulk Hogan, if Hulk Hogan was not in the WWF back in the 80s, who would have been a good option for Vince McMahon to put that fucking rocket ship on and lead the WWF back in the day? For this one, I'm actually going to start off with Rob on this one because if anybody loves Hulk Hogan, it's you, and it's a Hulk Hogan subject. So we're going to kick it off with you.
I am the only Hulkamaniac on the panel. As far as I know, I don't know about Ty, but I do know that Marcus and Tony hated Hogan back in the day.
Well, no, I never hate him. I'm not a fan, but I didn't hate him. I'll just say that.
Okay.
I hated him.
Yeah.
I hated him. And the reason I hated him is because back in the 80s, it had nothing to do with any of the lies he told. It had nothing to do with all the crazy shit. It's like all this shit Hogan did is kind of fuel the hatred. My hatred for Hogan is almost like Rob is today right now with WWE versus AEW. Ric Flair was putting on fucking 60-minute fucking Broadway matches. And Hogan was doing the bullshit he was doing in the ring. And everybody's praising him for it. That's when
I'll put it this way. I was a fan of NWA matches, but I was also a fan of baby faces, and I wanted NWA matches with WWF finishes. And so, I wanted the best of both worlds, and I didn't realize as a young Mark that that's not how the business works. I do now because I'm 47 years old and I've been watching for 3/4 of my life, but Hulk Hogan to me is a separate person from Terry Bollea. Okay, Terry Bollea is a screwed up human being that has his own problems, and Hulk Hogan is an iconic piece of Americana that inspired young people, including myself, to be better people, and he was a superhero of the 80s, and that's why I was a Hulkamaniac, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of people out there that were like that. But here's the answer to the question. Now, as a caveat, am I limited to only one answer?
You're not limited to just one answer. And also, I just want to make sure we throw this out there. We're not just limited to people who were in WWF at the time. Like, my answer is somebody that Vince could have brought in from a different promotion.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I'm covered in both areas. Okay. If Vern Gagne had not screwed up and had made Hulk Hogan his flagship, put his belt on him, and did what Vince did instead of driving him into McMahon's arms, there's 3 guys who I believe could have potentially had a similar impact or could have done what Hogan did, but maybe to a lesser extent. One of them is Sergeant Slaughter. Slaughter could have easily been the transition champion from Backlund to him by beating the Sheik, and they could have extended that feud and made it like an ultra patriotic type thing. And oh God, Vern Gagne missed the boat on Sergeant Slaughter in 1986. If he had put the AWA world title on Sergeant Slaughter when he had him while he was the spokesman for G.I. Joe in 1986, every 10-year-old boy in the world was watching G.I. Joe and they knew who Sergeant friggin' Slaughter was. But if Vince McMahon had put his world title on Sergeant Slaughter in 1984 when he had him, and then the G.I. Joe thing came, that could have been a huge deal. Second, Tito Santana. Santana, Santana was hot. When he first came to the WWF, his feud with Valentine was just absolutely legendary. Could have happened in the NWA, as a matter of fact. And WWF had a history for ethnic champions, so they could have easily transitioned from a Puerto Rican icon like Pedro Morales to a Mexican American icon like Tito Santana. So they could have done that without Hogan. And one that I think might draw some controversy is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
I honestly considered him.
Orndorff came into the WWF around the same time that Hogan did, and he was one of Hogan's top title defenses before Piper came in and the WrestleMania program started. But I've always said that Mr. Wonderful was Hulk Hogan's doppelganger. He was a shadowy image of what Hulk Hogan could have been had he turned heel earlier. And there was a lot of Mr. Wonderful in Hollywood Hogan later on. But Orndorff had his own appeal. He was chiseled physically. He was a extraordinary athlete, and he could work his ass off. So if it hadn't been Orndorff, then it could. If it hadn't been Hogan, it could have very well been Orndorff, and we would have gotten the singles program between between Orndorff and Piper that we would have, that we did get, but it would have been for the title instead. So those are my choices for who could have replaced Hogan.
Okay, Ty.
If Hogan wasn't the top guy in WWF,
Yeah,
I would have to pick the late Paul Orndorff.
okay.
Rest in power, Paul Orndorff. You'll be missed.
All right, cool. Marcus, who you got?
Okay, well, I only got two real choices. The first one, like Rob, I thought Sergeant Slaughter. You know, I mean, I can see McMahon getting behind him, putting the marketing machine behind him with all the figures and the toys and the figures and Americana and all that. And just like you, Rob, I couldn't believe Vern didn't put the title on him when he started doing G.I. Joe. I remember he had a match with with Nick Botwinkle. And I just knew Sergeant Slaughter was going to beat him for the title, and they kept it on Nick. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Vern Gagne could go his own way.
Yeah.
Like, he did so much good in AWA, but he made so many mistakes too.
Vern Gagne was too old school for his own good. I mean, this is an old school show, but Vern Gagne was from he was from the ancient school, and he was obsessed with NCAA level athletes, and Sergeant Slaughter was not that. But he could sell tickets. And I know that I've gotten on here and I've bitched and pissed and moaned about wrestling promotions worrying too much about profit and gimmicks than about actual wrestling. And I comp to that. But There does come a point when the most marketable guy needs to be in a prominent place to make money, and in 1986, Sergeant Slaughter was that guy. I didn't mean to step on your toes, Marcus. What's your other one?
But my other one, and this would have took some doing. I mean, a lot of doing. Vince would have had to really, really probably shell out some money to make this happen. But my thought is Kerry Von Erich. So he had the muscle. You talk about a huge baby face. I mean, yeah, he was mostly known in the southwest region, but you put the WWF machine behind Kerry. Oh man, I could have seen it happening. I could see him probably would have had to give Fritz a whole lot of money to let Kerry go, but with the muscle and the looks with the women and all of like that.
Oh, the women love Kerry Von
Yeah,
Erich.
I could have seen it being. I don't know if he could have gotten as big as Hogan, but it would have been pretty damn close.
Oh, it would have been interesting to see. I mean, he did it in Texas,
Right?
so yeah. I mean, I can't really argue with that. Tony.
The only problem with Kerry Von Erich is the only thing that would have stopped Kerry Von Erich from being that person is Kerry Von Erich and his demons, though.
Well, yeah, true, very, very true. And he was a horrible promo, but Hogan best promo either, though. So
Hogan, I gotta give him credit for promos though, because he knew how to work the crowd.
Well, he had the charisma, but he didn't say shit.
He did.
Never said shit. He had his niche.
Hogan's promos were much better before 1987 when he started doing the "what you gonna do" thing for every damn interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before that, he could deliver a halfway decent promo.
Unless I hate him, no. He's one of the better promo people in wrestling.
Well, I wouldn't put him that high up, but
once he became cookie cutter, it was terrible.
Wait. I'm not saying he's the Mount Rushmore, top 5, top 10, or anything like that, though. But
not even 25.
No, he'd be in top 25.
No, hell no, hell no. Oh, but you know what? Good topic for another day.
That might be.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Mount Rushmore of promos, yeah.
No.
But my picks, I had 2 different picks, and one of my picks was iffy on because of his age, and that's the only reason though. Because my pick for my B pick, not my A pick, my B pick to fill them shoes is the original Hulk Hogan.
Billy Graham, yeah.
Billy Graham.
I thought about that, yeah.
Only thing I think that could have hurt is that timing. Billy Graham was a little older at that time, so I don't think he could have done that schedule and ran with it like that. But Jesus Christ, he had the body. He had the 26's guns. Yeah. He had the body. He was every bit as good as Hogan in the ring. He had the promo skills. He had the charisma. He was every bit as good as Hogan. I mean, Hogan basically was superstar Billy Graham. But my other pick is, I think if he would have went out and got Dusty Rhodes, he could have put that rocket shit on Dusty and did it. Dusty was a better in-ring performer and had the charisma, the people behind him. I mean, a lot of Hogan's thing was getting the people behind him. Jesus Christ. Can't tell me that Dusty Rhodes couldn't have done that too.
See, you know what? I thought about that, but we cannot ever forget. I've heard this for years. We can't never ever forget Vince didn't like fat guys.
That's the only thing that's holding him back though. But if he didn't have Hogan, and if Vince could get his own way, that shit would have worked.
Yeah, I don't think he could have.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
There's one guy from the same era that Vince could have had his cake and eat it too with, and that was Magnum.
Yeah.
If he, I mean, cut
Magnum,
short.
Honestly, Magnum was supposed to be the Hulk Hogan for the NWA.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it's just one car accident.
Yeah.
I want to ask y'all a question. Since y'all talked about if Vince McMahon didn't make Hogan a top guy in WWF, who do y'all think would have been a top guy in WCW if Ric Flair wasn't the top guy in WCW?
Ooh.
See, here's the thing though with the NWA. No, I'm gonna go back to NWA because the 80s was NWA. They had so much goddamn talent.
Right, because you got to remember NWA, it was territories, so they could have drew from Kerry, from Lawler. They could have Dusty could have held the title.
This is my pick, Barry Windham.
Yeah, I've been a good choice. Yeah,
that's a good. Oh, yep. The only guy that I think could have replaced Flair as far as charisma and skill in the old Crockett promotion, Tully Blanchard.
Oh, what about Buddy Landale?
No. Landale had too many demons.
Well, yeah, that's
I mean, it's the same issue as Kerry Von Erich, just as a heel. He just couldn't get out of his own way.
This man had a lot of demons. So when I throw this name out there as a possible Ric Flair replacement, he had a lot of demons. So before I say his name, he definitely was that person. But Gino Hernandez.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hernandez. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you see, here's the thing. We are replacing Ric Flair with a top heel in the NWA because that was their mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
But could they have gone the route the WWF did and have a top baby face instead? Because then you've got Magnum, you've got Luger, you've got Sting, you've got Tommy Wildfire Rich, which is a guy everybody sleeps on, and he was so damned over that he actually got 4 days with the belt from Harley. So,
but honestly, Lex Luger was supposed to be the guy.
Yeah, but Dusty didn't want him. Oh, well, no, Dusty wanted Luger, Flair wanted Sting, and they clashed over that.
Right, he went dropping.
But Luger also was not stepping up to be that guy, though. I mean, and Luger, he had opportunity in NWA, WCW. And Jesus Christ, he dropped the ball and Vince McMahon put the rocket ship up his ass.
What about Wild Carpet? What about Steamboat?
Oh yes, absolutely, Ricky Steamboat. In fact, that could
Steamboat more in NWA than WWE.
That's what I think. Before he made the jump to WWF, what about if he would have instead of Flair, could have
he could have done it more there because he didn't have that charisma. In all honesty, like. For WWE, he wasn't at that larger than life on the mic, that charismatic.
That's what I mean. NWA, exactly.
Yeah. Steamboat would never have been as big as Hogan in the WWF, but god damn, if he had had that world title, he might have made a good era regardless.
That was a good question, though, Ty.
That was an excellent question, Ty. Thank you.
Well, I threw it in there because we were talking about, if Vince McMahon didn't make Hogan a big star in WWF, I figured I'd make up a better question.
And that was a very good question. Thank you. Did you have any ideas on who you would have given?
Oh God. Probably for me, either Ricky Steamboat or Gino Hernandez. Because I think I want to add regarding Gino Hernandez, he was like the cocky, arrogant heel from back in the day. When you talk about,
he was one of my favorites back then in WCCW.
If he had come along a little bit later than if he had come along a little bit earlier than he did, Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Rude could have replaced Flair.
Oh,
in fact, they toyed with it in the early 90s and they didn't do it enough. They could have really pushed Rude.
Or if you want to talk about demons, what about Chris Adams?
Gentleman Chris Adams?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah,
Didn't he and Gino Hernandez feud?
oh,
Yeah, they
They
feuded and teamed. Yeah.
they teamed, then they
Yeah, they
feuded.
teamed together and then feuded because
wait,
Gino Hernandez threw what looked like hair remover in his eyes,
right,
Yeah.
so it could look like that Hernandez blinded Adams.
they were getting ready to start. Gino did that, and they were getting ready to start the program, and that's when he died.
Yes.
In fact, they stole that whole angle from Michael Hayes and Junkyard Dog,
And I was
which
about
are
to say, in all honesty, though, in my opinion, Vince would never do it in WWF with Junkyard Dog. I think would have been a good pick.
Oh yeah, but he never would have gave the dog that kind of push. But yeah, he would have been though.
Yeah.
well,
But we
he
speaking
could.
of Michael P.S. Hayes too now.
Hey, NWA replacement for Flair, Michael
Yes.
Hayes. The Freebirds were basically the Horsemen minus one member, and they were first, so
If you
that's entirely possible.
If you don't have the Horseman, you don't have Ric Flair. You don't have the Horseman.
Yeah,
The first would have been that standard.
but you know what though? I mean, we gotta be honest. Michael Hayes sucked as a wrestler. I can't see it. I mean,
Well,
as a wrestler,
Michael Hayes was more. He was more so than yeah.
yeah.
I can't see him praising Flair. I can't see it. I can't see that one.
Well,
What about
okay.
gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, guys?
No, he didn't have he had the charisma but not the physique,
Right.
and his personality very much revolved around his valet. Flair's did not. So, as much as they could be rivals, and as much as Garvin could be flamboyant, he needed his valet too much, kind of like a prototype for Mark Marrow.
Yeah.
But Ty,
Yeah.
that was an excellent question. Thank you
Yeah.
for doing that. That was great.
It's the least I could do.
Sweet. Next subject, Motown.
All right, we're gonna do a Starrcade flashback. So it's kind of cool because Ty was talking about who could have replaced Ric Flair, and in my opinion, Ric Flair to Starrcade was Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania.
Yes.
Yes.
But we jumping into Starrcade, we jump into Ric Flair country.
Oh yes!
Now we're
Sorry.
gonna do our
I
tap
got-
out a moment later though, but right now we just want to talk about just the event itself though, because for me, Starrcade was for the end. I'm more partial to like when I mention Starrcade, I talk about NWA because in my opinion, the NWA days before it became WCW, Starrcade was like WrestleMania in my opinion. That was their big event, and for me, it was just as big as WrestleMania. But what do you guys think about Starrcade, though? We're going to kick this off with Marcus.
Let me tell you, I used to be so upset that they didn't have the cable that they had now, or they didn't. I would have begged my parents to let me buy to order it for Thanksgiving night. I love watching my football, but I would used to wish I could watch Starrcade on closed circuit. I'll never forget when they had it in Chicago. And they wouldn't buy me a ticket, but they let my uncle take me to the Regal Theater and watch it. And so I was ecstatic. I used to check, usually about a month after the show, maybe 2 months, I would be running to the video store hoping that they had that on cassette. That's how I would see Starrcade. That's how I saw most of them before cable expanded. Is I would have to go to the video store and rent it.
Yeah.
And that's how I saw a whole lot of Starrcades up until maybe, I don't know, 93, 4, whatever it was, something like that. But yeah, Starrcade for me was just I was pissed at Vince. We started that Survivor Series bullshit. You know, at the time I thought it was bullshit because this ain't you fucking with Starrcade. So Starrcade a big deal for me. I used to wish I could see it, and more so than the football back in the day.
Well, remember back then though, you had a 12 o'clock game, you had a 3 o'clock game. A Starrcade came on in the evening though.
Yeah, but still, it wasn't. I wasn't see. It still wasn't the same for me though. because I knew I couldn't get Starrcade, so
Oh, okay, I got you. I
like
got you.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
could back then. My parents wasn't buying closed circuit, so
Yeah.
you know.
Well, like I said in Smoke and Fire with Motown, our first episode, I was a spoiled kid because my dad was one of the first people in our neighborhood to have an illegal satellite scrambler back in 1985. So I got to see WWF and NWA pay-per-views for free at home. So I was so damn lucky and so spoiled, it was nobody's business. But I I always considered Starrcade to be the event with the better matches.
Yes.
Even though I was a WWF first fan because I loved Hogan and I loved the way that the WWF worked, I knew very much so that the NWA's matches were stylistically better. And that's what I think of whenever I think of Starrcade, is that they had the wildest matches, they had the best technical matches, and they had more blood. And you know, as much as we're more sophisticated when it comes to that now, and we understand why it's not done as often, but a lot of Starrcades, especially in the early years, they had like 3 or 4 matches at least that had someone bleeding. So, yeah, I mean, whenever I think of Starrcade, I think of great matches and just a workhorse show is what I think of. And we are joined by the mastermind, Bobby Rogers. Good to see you, sir.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
That brother.
Doing all right. We are in the middle of old school right now. It's good to see you. Um, we are going to move on to Ty for the right now. We're on the question of what does Starrcade mean to you, and Ty, go ahead.
Before I get started, this segment is brought to you by Jiffy Cornbread.
Sponsors, we love them.
She did not say Jiffy Cornbread.
Yeah,
Hi
she did.
guys.
I'm from the south. I'm from the south.
No, they ain't just the South thing. They ain't just the South thing.
When I think of Starrcade, I think of Greensboro Coliseum.
Mm.
Cause me, y'all know I'm from the South, North Carolina to be exact. When I think of Starrcade, I not only do you think of the great matches, you think of Greensboro Coliseum, now known as the Greensboro Complex.
Mhm.
Because Starrcade is like Greensboro's baby.
Yes.
I mean,
And
and the crazy part about I wasn't even thinking about that when we was talking about Starrcade, the fact that like you lived in Starrcade country.
oh yes, born and raised in Starrcade, Hardy country.
Yep. That's true. That's true. But
So
okay, Ty, since you grew up down there, here's a good question for you.
okay.
Were you upset when they moved, like Marcus, when they moved Starrcade from Thanksgiving to Christmas? It started as a Thanksgiving tradition, but then they moved it to Christmas because of Survivor Series. Were you upset about that, or did it matter?
I don't think it mattered because it didn't matter if they held Starrcade on Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's or MLK Day. I'm using that as a example, but
Not to
it
mention
didn't
the fact
make
she wasn't alive when it was that on Thanksgiving.
um it didn't matter either way. It didn't matter to me. It didn't make no difference with me.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Bobby, what does Starrcade mean to you?
Wow. Starrcade kind of had a couple of different meanings for me. Um, one was definitely, how would I describe it? It's a marker from when you are becoming from a middle schooler to a high schooler. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of a marker for me.
Okay.
At the same time, in a wrestling sense, it was the more understanding of the business, the learning of the business, seeing what it was about, seeing great matches, seeing the craziness and the stars come out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe Sting had a couple of moments there. Flair had his moments, definitely. You know, Dusty Rhodes had his moments, and those were the ones where what really drew me into the professional wrestling business. Um, you really can't say more than what they did with Starrcade. Unfortunately, somebody else was ambitious. But so ambitious they wanted to crush it because they wanted their own creation to come out. So
Okay.
Cool. Next subject, Motown.
Damn, I can't get my take on Starrcade.
I'm sorry. I was jumping the gun there. Go ahead, Motown. I am sorry.
No problem.
I kind of got thrown off in the rotation.
Anybody wants a show on a regular basis, and I'm really gonna. And when we talk about like the pay-per-views with AEW and WWE currently, one thing y'all hear me say, less is more, right?
Yes.
Starrcade. That's where I get that from. WWE was putting on pay-per-views back then. I mean, and I agree with you. Like, I like Starrcade on Thanksgiving. I didn't get to actually watch it live on Thanksgiving. I'm like Marcus. I had to wait like 2 months when it got to fucking Starstruck Video. But and then WWE decided to do Survivor Series on Thanksgiving and kind of mess everything up. And honestly, I was not happy with that at all. But I love the fact that less was more because like the NWA was about matches. They'll throw a damn good card out there, 6-7 matches. WrestleMania 3 was an incredible pay-per-view. Enjoyed the fuck out of it, but it wasn't like the NWA, and I enjoyed like the Starrcades because WrestleMania 3, I could be wrong here. I'm just throwing a number out there. I thought it was about like 13, 14 matches.
12.
It was only 12?
Yeah, there were only 12 matches at WrestleMania 3.
But 12 matches was too fucking much. Especially when you have Starrcade doing 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And giving me and the entire show was good matches. I love the match quality. I love the fact that like Starrcade was always built around who was gonna beat Ric Flair.
Okay.
And most of the times you didn't beat Ric Flair. Complete opposites, and it's just my mindset. I was a heel person, Rob was a babyface person. But the pay-per-views back in the 80s were same thing, different way to get there though, because it was like people paid to see Ric Flair lose, and he didn't lose. But he did lose, he was getting that shit back. People pay to see WWE to see Hulk Hogan win.
Yes.
Different concepts, different mindsets, but I was more on like it made me feel good that everybody thought this is gonna be it. Oh, they put Ric Flair in a cage match versus Sting. Oh, there's no way he's gonna win this time. The Horseman can't help him, and then he walks out with the fucking title, putting on a fucking banger.
Yeah, but see that didn't always work for every fan. It didn't work for me. I loved the NWA.
No.
It's just
like I said, that's me as a fan. Like I mean,
well, yeah.
Man, we're the
Yeah.
opposite when it comes to that though, because you like the Hulk Hogan and you want the bit. I love them disappointing the crowd when the heel wins again.
I loved the happy baby face goes over ending. I loved guys like Steamboat and Strike Force and all of those guys too, because I liked the baby face going over, and that's why I was a WWF fan first and all others second, because we had different psychological makeups back
Yeah.
then.
But this is my mindset. Like back in like late 80s, early 90s, I was a Bad Boys Pistons fan, the most hated basketball team in the fucking league. I was living in Chicago during Michael Jordan's era, walking around my Pistons gear. You can imagine the looks I was fucking getting.
Oh yes, I can imagine how pissed off a lot of people were in your school when that happened.
For many years, actually no, many years back, when the Bears decided like they're gonna fucking crap on us and not give us good products, my second favorite team became Tom Brady. You know what? And as great as Tom Brady is, you know what my favorite thing about Tom Brady is? Everybody hates him.
See, okay, there was something similar that happened in my high school too. I live in IU country, okay? And my high school's colors are maroon and white. They can't be red and white because that's IU, but they're like maroon and white.
So they're going to both.
Yeah, there's a ton of IU fans at my high school even today. The outcasts, the people who wanted to be rebels, they were all wearing Purdue shirts. We even had one teacher, our shop teacher, who graduated from Purdue, and he was like their idol. He was like the favorite teacher of the people who loved Purdue at the school. And he always said, you can hate on the basketball team all you want, but but Purdue is a fine institution that I graduated from. Hate the players, not the school. So I guess that's how I feel about the NWA and Crockett back in the 80s. I loved the WWF, but I didn't hate the NWA. I just didn't like Ric Flair. I do now. Flair is fantastic, and I realized that I hated him because he did his job and did it right. But back in the 80s, I despised him.
And the cool thing about back then, and this is gonna be just a general, and this general about Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, and I didn't realize when I was younger, but when I'm older, I get it. I hated Hulk Hogan. And when I say I hated Hulk Hogan, it wasn't like all the racist shit that he said, him funneling like fucking little girls that looked like his daughter, and all the lies he told. I just didn't like his character. I didn't like Hulk Hogan in the 80s, his character. Okay. And as I got older, I realized what it was. I felt you realize Hulk Hogan was not his authentic self.
Thank you.
Like how you point out, Rob, there's a difference between Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea.
Yes.
Hulk Hogan was not authentic. Ric Flair and Richard Flair are the same motherfuckers.
Well, okay, you could push that a little bit farther. Richard Flair never existed. That was never his real name. That was his adopted name.
Because Ric Flair was Ric Flair. The limousine ride, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. And I'm having a hard time putting these alligators down.
Hold on, let me jump in here on that.
Okay, go ahead.
There was something that I had to realize when I got older, especially when I got into business, to why I didn't take the Hulk Hogan. And Tony hit it on the head. Growing up where I grew up, most fuckers was not talking about saying prayers or eating their vitamins. They was getting drunk, going to the bar, getting ladies, and getting laid after the bar. So Ric Flair related to me more than a Hulk Hogan or something like that because to me it was more believable. I could reach out and touch somebody like that. I can't reach out and touch somebody like Ric Flair. I mean Hulk Hogan.
Okay, there's some cultural issues there too, because I grew up in a place that was very much about Americana. Down here in southern Indiana, there's a lot of corn-fed American loving people who, they love dusty roads too for the same reasons. So there's some cultural stuff going on there too. I have to admit.
And where I grew up, everybody was probably hanging at the bar with Ric Flair, getting drunk, picking up women. I'm being serious.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, Tony, think about it. South side of Chicago, am I lying?
Definitely not.
Yeah, I say not at all.
But when it comes to like Hulk Hogan, here's what I realized: I don't like the fake shit.
Nope.
As much as I hate Hulk Hogan and I hate that piece of shit, I wish that motherfucker never existed. But I like Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, he was great.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan. You know who Hollywood Hulk Hogan is? Terry Bollea.
Yeah.
Superman gone rogue. Everybody wants to see it, but we never say it.
And I hate saying that I like Hollywood. Like I used to hate it. But he had the Voodoo Child. I was doing it too. I was pissed, but I couldn't stop. Like, I like that Hulk Hogan because now you're fucking being real.
Ty?
Sorry, y'all. I got distracted. I just caught on the news a few seconds ago. Jimmy Carter passed away, y'all.
What?
Oh, Jimmy Carter died.
Oh.
Wow.
Jimmy Carter?
Yeah. The 39th president of the United States. He just died today.
The coolest president there was that got fucked over?
Second coolest.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait. If Jimmy Carter was the second coolest president, who was the coolest president?
Bill Clinton.
No, Obama.
Ulysses S. Grant. But that's just me. That's just me.
Nah, I'm sorry. Bill Clinton was the coolest motherfucker out there. Obama was getting blowjobs from other bitches and everything, smoking weed. Was.
Oh,
I want to add, Tony, is it possible that you thought Hulk Hogan was fake? Like, as you got older, Hulk Hogan was not the persona that you thought he was? Is it possible
that was not him? Like, Ric Flair was Ric Flair.
Fake?
Like, Ric Flair, you could... When it comes to wrestling and characters and everything, and Bobby can attest to this, and I think Rob can too, being in the business though, but like what gets over is being your authentic self.
Yes.
And I didn't realize when I was a kid. I just didn't like Hulk Hogan. I didn't realize why though, but Hulk Hogan was not his authentic self. Hollywood Hogan was his authentic self.
Yeah.
Ric Flair was Ric Flair. He was himself from beginning to end to this fucking day.
So basically, Ric Flair wasn't fake about who he was. He was real.
Just like Macho Man,
1,000% real.
And for them, it's like this. That's what they live. Like Macho Man to the day he died was Macho Man. Like like on camera, off camera. That's how that intensity he brought. That was him.
Okay. I mean, what I loved as I come to go older, what I loved about Hulk Hogan when I was a kid was the idea of Hulk Hogan, the clean-cut superhero. Yeah, and the fact that it's much more complicated than that is kind of like when a kid switches over from DC to Marvel.
Yeah,
you get you want more complicated things out of your life.
And for me, and when I'm saying like, I like the realism, like the fact that Ric Flair was Ric Flair, and I didn't like Hulk Hogan. But when I was a kid, I didn't realize all that stuff though. Like I didn't like when Ric Flair was talking about all the stuff he's doing. As I found out wrestlers fake, I didn't realize until I got older That motherfucker really was doing that shit.
Yeah, whether he could afford it or not, he was doing it. Yes.
Yeah, like for me, like wrestling is a show and everything, though. So I really thought Ric Flair. I just drawn to him, but I really thought Ric Flair was putting on a show. I had no idea he was
Let me
doing
say,
all the shit he was doing.
let me say why. Because you can always tell realness from a person when they talk.
Yeah,
And when Hulk Hogan talked, it was the most funniest shit ever. It made me so mad when he would talk. Listen up, brother. I want you to say those prayers and eat those vitamins. And you're shaking like the fucking crackheads is walking down my street. You ain't on no fucking vitamins and shit. You on crack, motherfucker.
but I will say this
But
though, if Hogan was
no,
a better,
hold on. Let me finish, Tony. That was my mentality back then when I was a kid. Because I was when the crack epidemic was happening. That's all you saw was fucking zombies walking down the street. And when he was shaking, do all that shit, that reminded me of a crackhead. I'm not relating to that. I'm not saying, oh, that's Americana. You know what I'm saying? That's
That
Billy
ain't
down the street that got
American.
his bump.
About that.
No, but seriously, think about it. He looked like a crackhead to me. When you live in those environments that we lived in, he looked like a fucking crackhead instead of a wrestler. A muscle bound crackhead. And when Ric Flair was talking about he was getting women, he was getting drunk, he was banging 16 chicks at night at the same time, I would think about my dad's friends. And I'd say, you know what? They're doing that. That seems more real. Okay, I can handle it. I can. Yeah. I mean, he just when Hulk Hogan opened his mouth, all I saw was coming out of his mouth was bullshit, 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 bullshit. I need a vial of crack, bullshit. I need a vial of crack, bullshit. I couldn't stand it. It pissed me off. I wouldn't watch WWE for Hulk Hogan. I watch for other people. But Hogan, when he talked, it bullshit. Just seemed like it just can't. Every time he said something, it just seemed like bullshit was just loud from his mouth. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You know, yeah. Fuck Hulk Hogan.
all right.
And we'll move on from there. Motown.
I'm sorry, it did. It just reminded me of a crackhead back in the day, man. He's shaking and shit. Oh, yeah, he wanted that hit. That's why he was fucking shaking. That's what the fuck it was.
I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. Oh, that was a lot to unpack.
Rob, I only guess that 4 thank yous. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're having too much fun here. So, we're good, clean and wholesome here at FTW Future Focus, aside from the crack abuse. Oh God, that was too far. I'll ding myself. Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. That's 5.
That's
Right
a good
there.
way to crack. That's a good
But-
way to crack it open.
Before we move on to the next subject, though, and sorry, Mom, when it comes to Hulk Hogan only did one good thing and one good thing only. He gave us that beautiful fucking piece of ass, Brooke Hogan. I will put it on Brooke Hogan like this.
And that's 6. Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus.
That's what Brooke said.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus, the incest edition.
Oh my
good
God. Oh God.
Well, that's what he was implying. That's what I had to say.
I'm gonna have to get the holy water after this. Oh my God.
I just want the hole.
Thank you for joining us on FTW Future Focus. That's 8. Oh my God. Save us, Motown.
All right, we're going to move on to our next subject. Oh, this ought to be interesting. If I remember right, I'm taking a real quick guess. Everybody in the panel. Okay, we're going back to WWE. and we're going back to gimmick because WWE was the gimmick federation to the point was almost unwatchable sometimes for Rob to this day. But we're doing old school Rob, doing old gimmicks now. What are your guys' worst WWF gimmicks?
Oh shit! Hold on. All right, I'm ready.
Okay, who goes first?
Wait, you want to go first, Bob?
Hold
You
on.
want
Let me
me?
go. I got my papers all arranged. Hold on.
Okay.
Marcus.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep it to one. And there was a brief time, right before Eddie Guerrero died. Chavo Guerrero took on this gimmick as some kind of yuppie.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember that.
Erwin White.
But I didn't remember it till you just said it, but I remember that.
I remember the gimmick, but I couldn't remember the name. I had to go back and look it up. But oh my God, that was just awful. Everything to me, that was so far and away the worst gimmick. I just didn't even pick else after that. Cause that was just absolutely just. I'm like Chavo. What the hell are you doing? I mean, I know his family wanted to beat his ass for that one. That was just for me by far the worst gimmick in WWE history.
There's,
I'm a
there's
ex.
actually a story behind that, and I would tell that at another time. But there's a story behind that gimmick.
Okay.
I'm gonna go next because I don't think my gimmick is as horrible as some of you guys are gonna. Some of the gimmicks you guys are gonna mention. It's just horrible for me because I think it ruined a man's career. The Red Rooster.
Yeah.
There's been worse gimmicks than the Red Rooster, but Jesus Christ, Terry Taylor was a phenomenal wrestler before he had to go to WWE and do that shit.
Yeah. He deserved better.
Yeah.
Terry Taylor
Much
deserved
better.
a lot better though. So he got my worst gimmick just because he was too good to have to do that shit. And it sucked for him because it was like him and Kurt Hennig got there at the same time. One was going to be the Rooster, one was going to be Mr. Perfect, and apparently he drew the little straw. Bobby Heenan couldn't even save that shit.
Nope.
And he tried. He definitely tried.
Yeah.
Part of it is on Terry Taylor. Granted, it was a horrible gimmick though, but Terry hated it and didn't embrace it. Like, because honestly, like the polka dots of Dusty should have fucking fell, but Dusty embraced that shit. Like some of the bad gimmicks that they embrace and get it over, fucking New Day.
Goldust.
Goldust, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
Goldust's gimmick was so bad it ended up being good.
Yeah.
But no, it ruined Terry Taylor. Like I love Terry Taylor back in the UWF days. He was TV champion, feuding Nikita Koloff. His shit with the hot stuff Eddie. Oh man, like I just have so many good memories of Terry Taylor. I just felt like they ruined it for me. So Red Rooster for me. Rob, you next.
Okay, this one was really hard because over the years from 1984 till now, there have been some horrible ass gimmicks. So I had to go underneath the barrel and dig a few feet to do this. Every gimmick except one that WWF or E has tried, it could at least be justifiable in one way or another. It appealed to kids. It kept somebody employed. Something. There is one gimmick that is absolutely, positively irredeemable in all ways and forms imaginable. Bastion Booger. There was absolutely, positively no reason other than Vince Diddy McMahon being a disgusting, demonically minded human being to put poor Mike Shaw in a goddamn diaper, essentially, a diaper with straps, and make his gimmick out to be a fat, disgusting, nasty smelling man whose finishing move was to plop his balls into your face and make you submit because you couldn't stand the odor. That is a horrible, no two ways about it, irredeemable thing. So Bastion Booger, far and away, is the absolute worst gimmick in not only WWE history, but wrestling history. Completely irredeemable.
Rob, I say this respectfully, and I don't know how I can say these two words to you respectfully, but it's respectfully. Fuck you. You know why I say fuck you?
Because I took yours.
No, I blocked that shit out of my head. I didn't remember this shit till you brought it back in my head. Like,
well, you know something, I have been trying to forget about February 5th, 1988 for over 35 years. So that makes us even. That makes us even. I've been trying to forget the twin Hepners for 3/4 of my life. So Bastion Booger, okay?
And Booger. See, and that's why I said I'm going to go next. And when I did, because I knew you guys were going to have some ones out there that I'm like, yeah. Young Red Rooster was actually good.
Yes, it was, but my God, there was just there were at least like one or two redeemable qualities with Terry Taylor and that dumbass red afro.
It was, but the reason I said I didn't want to go because there's so many gimmicks that was worse than Red Rooster, but it ruined Terry Taylor for me.
Yeah, he never recovered from that.
No.
But there's just no excuse for Bastion Booger.
No. There really isn't. That shit was horrible.
Yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, I forgot about Bastion Booger.
I know. That's why I say fuck you, Rob. I think I erased that memory from my head, and he brought it back.
Trauma.
Yeah. But there was one gimmick, and some people might say, "Oh, that wasn't too bad." To me, it was terrible. To me, it was an insult to African Americans. It was the worst damn gimmick that was ever developed.
Crime time.
And Vince McMahon should have had his ass whooped as soon as he came out there and started that shit. And that was the African Dream, Akeem.
Yes.
You know what?
100% agree.
You know what? I'm going to tell you. In my opinion, that gimmick made me laugh because for me, I'm just going to tell you for myself, it was so ridiculous and stupid. I couldn't take it seriously. I couldn't help but laugh instead of being.
I'm glad you laughed because I didn't.
It's just because it was so ridiculous to me. I couldn't take it.
I'm in the same boat with Marcus. It was like when they took the one man gang. Yeah, and I was a huge one man gang fan too, like UWF days and everything.
I mean,
but for me, it was almost like it was like I can't believe they did this.
To me, I couldn't help but laugh when they say he's from deepest, darkest Africa. What the fuck does that even mean? I mean, it was just funny to me. I'm sorry.
I'm like, no, me and Marcus are on the same page on that though. But yeah, it was bad, but it was comically bad though. Like,
well, I'm glad you two thought it was funny because I didn't.
I have to side with Bobby on this one. I didn't think it was funny. I thought it was insulting, especially considering, not only the racist connotations, which were unnecessary as hell, but also because the one-man gang was a great fucking character.
One-man gang, phenomenal.
Yes.
And how do you come from a Southern jailer to being a white black dude?
I mean, that was,
Jelly,
yeah.
he's from the. No, he was a son of Jelly, the one man game from Halsted Street, Chicago.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, you're
You think
confusing
Boss
him with the Boss Man.
You
Yeah.
think a Boss Man?
Okay, well, fuck that gimmick. Fuck Vince McMahon. Fuck who all made the development for that motherfucker. Fuck the people who made the plan for that shit. Fuck who made the costumes. Fuck whoever gave him the microphone to say some shit. Fuck whoever did the shit to be an agent for that shit. Fuck all of them. That was the biggest insult in the fucking world, and Vince should have had his ass beat severely over that shit. And I don't mean just a Bret Hart punch.
But
I mean, he should have had his ass stomped for that shit.
Vince did a lot of shit that he said has as beef for. Not only that though, but the Mexicals.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That made me puke in my mouth a little bit.
Like, this wasn't my pick. My pick is still the Red Rooster though, but you gotta have some fucking Mexicans coming out and to the ring fucking lawnmowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was.
Yeah.
Ty, if you dare.
Damn. I got 3. Where's gimmicks?
Lay it on us, please.
I'm surprised y'all ain't say the gobbledygooker.
I was
That was
waiting
on
for
my
that.
list.
Yeah, I
was waiting for that.
Yeah.
The gobbledygooker.
I actually had that on my list, but Akeem was worse for me.
I had
That's
gobbledygooker
worse for me. Because it's like Thanksgiving gone horribly bad when you think of the gobbledygooker. It's like you'll never look at Thanksgiving the same again. Number 2, Max Moon. Who the hell?
And then a Sports Center thing comes on. Who the fuck is Max Moon?
Who in the world? Max Moon looked like a
Power Ranger.
A broke ass, nothing ass Ninja Turtle head ass. I swear to God.
Wow.
I don't know Max Moon. I never seen him.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah.
He really did much. I forgot the motherfucker existed to Ty brought him up.
Yeah.
Number 3. Hiding right.
Oh, the rapist?
Yeah, I did not like that.
Hiding right was disturbing. Like, I didn't look at that. Well, I didn't put him in a category as like a bad gimmick. I just put that in a category as like this disturbing. Like,
okay, all right. Let me. I take that.
Like, remember he tried to
right.
rape Michael Cole.
Oh God. Oh my God, Tony, you just gave me an idea for the next old school episode. Like, what gimmick or storyline that happened back then would not fly in today?
Oh wow, that could be a whole show.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
oh my God.
But
The first thing I thought of when you said that was fucking Triple H dressing up as Kane with Katie Vick.
Oh.
Honorable mention, the Mountie.
Yeah, that did almost get them sued.
Yeah. And one that just came to mind for me, and I wish I would remember it wasn't even a character when they had poor Natty doing the farting gimmick.
Oh.
I felt so bad for poor Natty.
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of people who deserve better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with Natty's on a fart, I didn't look at that as like a bad gimmick. It was just bad story. Like, that was just bad, though.
Yeah.
I think the one storyline that wouldn't fly today. Every chance my other boo Chris Jericho roasted Stephanie McMahon. All the insults he flew at her would not fly in 2024.
But y'all wondering, my mom just left a comment in the chat for water. and she's talking to one person on the panel, and it ain't you for.
Wow. Well, it's good to have Mama Motown on board watching.
Oh yeah.
We ready for the next subject?
We are definitely ready for the next one, though. That was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I'm so mad at you, Rob. Fucking blocked out the.
I have to share my pain sometimes.
I blocked out Bash and Booger. I really did. Bobby, you ready to do your stuff?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, Royal Rumble is coming here to Indianapolis, Indiana. It'll be at the Lucas Oil Stadium. They're also going to do a Friday Night SmackDown showing here in Indianapolis at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So what we have done is we have acquired a way to where we could all get together, have some fun, and check out both shows. So if you are interested in seeing the Friday Night SmackDown episode from Sweet, there's a link. You can buy a ticket. It's for one seat. It is $200, but you get food, drinks, all types of stuff. Myself and Rob went. Tony, you went too, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got drinks, food, all of that. But right, it was pretty cool. So we got that, and then the Royal Rumble seat is just going to be a seat in the audience. Unfortunately, I did try to get suites for that, but for some reason they're going nuts. And this is going to be something I talk about in a future episode here in January about how they're taking. How can I say it?
Price gouging.
Not only price gouging, but they're really doing some things that are just bogus when it comes to the pricing. So we're gonna have the links in the chat. So you can go ahead and go on PayPal and order them. Believe me, it's on point. And in the chat, go ahead. If you want to go to the SmackDown on Friday, if you want to go to Royal Rumble, if you want to go both, the links are there. They'll be up till the 15th. Let's get together, have a good time, and sign around and get bubbly.
And don't be landing in jail either.
Yeah, don't do that.
No.
Just have a good time, and don't be doing stuff that'll land you in jail.
Boy.
Yep. Have a good time and don't swerve when you drive.
Swerve when I drive. Swerve when I drive. Swerve when I drive. Swerve when I drive.
And don't be throwing no toilet paper either.
Oh, don't get me started.
That's what
No. When I brought that up, I thought about Swerve Strickland giving almost everybody a roll of toilet paper and throwing it at Ricochet.
We'll save that one, but yeah, that I had a minute with that moment, but we'll get there next week.
Guys,
check this out. We're gonna review you're gonna review World's End next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. But next subject.
Have fun. I'm about to get up off here and get some rest because I just got out of the hospital. So.
All right, cool. Thanks for joining us for a little bit there. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Get well soon.
Thank you, Mastermind, and get some rest, and we will see you next week.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah.
All right, you too. All right, but for us, our next subject is old school. WrestleMania 2 was in 3 different cities. It was in New York, Chicago, and LA. What are your thoughts, feelings, and everything with having a pay-per-view in 3 different cities? I'm gonna kick this off with Rob.
Okay. I am completely against the fact that they had 3 cities. They could have gotten away with 2, but it would have been much better with 1. And when it comes to WrestleMania 2, there were a lot of problems with this show. They overbooked it. They had at least 3 or 4 matches that didn't need to be on the card at all or should have been modified. And overall, it was a less tight show than WrestleMania 1, and they had like 2 or 3 jobber matches on top of it to boot. So there were a whole lot of different things that they should have done with WrestleMania 2. First of all, it should have been in Chicago. Rosemont Horizon, Chicago is the only place that Mania 2 should have been. And a while back, when we were speaking of Mania 2, I actually worked up an alternative card that would have been a whole lot better. It was like 10 matches instead of the 12 that we did get. Hogan versus Bundy in the cage stays the same. Bulldogs versus the Dream Team, which was the match of the night, stays the same, but everything else changes. Rematch for the Intercontinental title, Savage versus Santana. WWF versus NFL Lumberjack match, Big John Studd versus Refrigerator Perry. Paul Orndorff and the Junkyard Dog versus Roddy Piper and Bob Orton to get rid of that god-awful boxing match. Adrian Adonis versus George the Animal Steele. Andre the Giant in a handicap match against Morocco and Fuji. Volkov and the Sheik in a tag team flag match against Corporal Kirshner and Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Jake the Snake Roberts versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in a fast forward of what we would get eventually. And the Killer Bees versus the Hart Foundation. That would have been a much better card for WrestleMania 2 than what we actually did get. But what we actually did get would have been a whole lot better if they had nixed the Battle Royal, especially the boxing match. They could have done something way different with Piper to get him out for 4 months. And it just should have been a fundamentally different card, and part of the problem was the multicast from 3 cities. Never should have been done.
All right, I'm actually gonna go next on this one, and then I'm gonna have Marcus go after me, and then Tyler, you're gonna wrap it up, okay?
Why? Come on, man. Why I gotta go last?
Because we love your reaction to it.
But Dad, I don't want to go last.
I like the multi-city thing. I just think 3 cities was too much. They should split it up between 2. For then. Now the way pay-per-views are now is not necessary now. Like there's no reason to have like a pay-per-view 2 different cities in 2024. But back in what, 1983, 84, when was that?
86. Mania 2 was in 86.
In 86, streaming was different. So I get the concept because it's about money. I just think 3 cities was a bit too much. I think you could do 2 cities. Me personally, I think you could do Chicago, LA.
Mm-hmm.
To the time difference. You didn't have to do Madison Square Garden. The Rosemont, LA, wherever they were in there, split the cars in 2. And yeah, you could definitely have booked it different. The booking part of it, it don't matter if it's 1 card, 1 city, 2 city, 3 cities. The matches are the matches. If you booking crap, you're gonna book crap. Like they definitely could have booked it different. They didn't book WrestleMania 2 as a big deal like 1 and 3 were. They just kind of like, I think in each city, like this is going to be the prime focus on here. This is going to be prime focus here. This is going to be prime focus here. And we're going to give you some crap leading up to it. That was the problem I had with that. 2 cities definitely could have made it work, especially back in 1986. I like the idea of the multi-city thing back then. It's just different now, though. Like, now, there's no need for that shit now. But back then, absolutely. Have it in Chicago, have it in LA, get the Refrigerator Perry involved, absolutely, in Chicago. I do agree with you, Rob. We didn't have to have a battle royal. You could put Andre Giant in the match and everything, and not have to have him involved in that.
Well, see, I think that a lumberjack match would have been better because think about this. Everybody wanted to see Stud versus Perry. That was if they had had a singles match with the NFL and WWF wrestlers and football players surrounding the
that
ring.
match, you have the WWF guys over here, you have the NFL guys over here.
Right, and they could have gotten heat either way.
Definitely would have worked. Part of me kind of want to see a 2-city event again. And here's the reason why. Hear me out on this. For WWF, WWE is involving internationally. Imagine, like, okay, we're going to do, as we're doing 2 nights of WrestleMania, 2 nights of this, 2 nights of that. Why do 2 nights that be in the same city? Why can't we have night 1 in Australia, night 2 in fucking Chicago? Or night 1 in fucking Mexico City, night 2 in LA? If you're going to, as we're doing 2 nights, I really think it would be more impactful if you're going to do 2 nights, 2 different cities. Because you could, like, the one city, hey, we're getting this. The other city, we're getting this.
It's more possible now because of the technology available. In 1986, there was no such thing as streaming.
No, in 86 was no such thing as streaming. And they weren't even thinking about, like, the pay-per-view. It was about ticket sales. It was like, no, they were being greedy as fuck. Vince was straight up. Get tickets in New York. I'm gonna get tickets in Chicago. I'm gonna get tickets in LA. It was about ticket sales.
Yeah.
Mania 3 kind of changed the whole philosophy because, like, Mania 3 is like we can put everybody in one city and get 80,000 people, 85,000 people. Because realistically, that's what it really was. It wasn't 93. It was about 80 paid. But as they're doing 2 night events, why not do 2 nights in different cities?
Okay.
I think that would be, for me personally, I think that would be better because I'm not trying to decide, spend all my money to do like $300-400 to see night 1, $300-400 to see night 2. No, we get night 1. I'm gonna go there, have a good time. I'm gonna watch on Peacock or whatever, and watch night 2 because night 2 is in LA or another country or whatever.
Yeah.
You could do multi-cities with the 2 night pay-per-view. I don't think they will. But if I was Triple H, and if anybody watching from WWE, doing 2 night events. Why not
make a Red Zone channel?
Yeah.
Marcus, what you got?
Well, I remember growing up, I wasn't a big fan of 2. I just thought it was 3 cities was just too. The card was all over the place, and I think there were filler matches that they could have gone without. For me, I don't think that they will do 2 cities now, especially with them going overseas. More so is because, one, you have dome stadiums now where you can get everybody in there at once. Instead of doing 2 20,000-30,000 stadiums, you can just do 1 and get 50,000-70,000 plus people in there.
Yeah.
And now when we look at the corporate conglomerate of TKO, who's already put out $5 billion already, to me, I don't see them wanting to spend money to send two different crews to two different cities, especially if, can you imagine putting all that equipment, paying all that airfare, all that hotel, all those truckloads that we see behind every stadium that we go to? Can you imagine them doing that in Australia for one, and then let's just say hypothetically, Japan for another? Hell no, TKO. Hell no, they not trying to spend that kind of. No, WrestleMania is supposed to be profit, 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 profit. You cutting into a profit by sending two different crews to two different cities, and with all the equipment and everything that goes on to put on a show like WrestleMania. No, we will not see that happen. No, it's going to be 2 nights, same city. To me, especially with TKO running the show, they not spending, they not taking away from profit to put on a production like that in two different, not I can't even see 2 different cities, let alone 2 different countries. Hell no, absolutely not.
Ty?
I do agree with Tony and Marcus on this because back in '86, like Tony mentioned, streaming was not a thing. The only way you could watch WrestleMania 2 and 3 is via pay-per-view. And if you had the latest, and if you had somebody to give you the hook up on the latest pay-per-view, you could watch it that way. But 3 cities for WrestleMania, for like a pay-per-view, especially WrestleMania, I don't think it would work in 2024 going into 2025. But if you wanted to do it like that, 2 cities max. 3 cities, that's just an overkill. That's just a hard pill to swallow, just like the ham I ate for Christmas dinner the other night. It's a hard pill to swallow, and plus, doing it in one, like doing WrestleMania in one city, and then on night one, and then doing it in another city, that could work. But 3 cities max, I don't think so. It just wouldn't work. Back then they made it work, but now,
And I completely agree with Marcus on fact that like it's kind of your money. If you're gonna have WrestleMania like here and WrestleMania here, night 1, night 2, cut to your money versus having it in the same city though. But I hate the 2-night pay-per-views in the same city though. I hate that. It's just like you're price gouging.
yeah, if you're gonna do
Get your
2-night
money over here. Get your money over here.
yeah, like you said, if you're gonna do a 2-night pay-per-view, do it in one city for night 1 and do it in the other city for night 2.
Well, see, this is a debate that we keep having on this program. Profitability for the promotion versus accessibility and quality for fans.
Like I
There
said,
has to, there's a
don't be money
line where those
hungry.
two things there's a line where those two things meet, and we have our disagreements about where WWE crosses that line and when they don't.
Right. I always say less is more.
And I don't disagree with that.
But in this instance, you don't need. I'm not a fan of 2-night pay-per-views. I'm not a fan of it at all. But for me personally, in my head, and Marcus is absolutely right, and the reason why it's going to go like it's going is because Marcus is absolutely right. I'm not going to pay like people go to this city and other people go to this city. It is going to cost more money if you go 2 nights in 2 different cities. So I'm acknowledging you, Marcus. That is absolutely right. But for me as a fan, it makes more sense to have these fans pay this over here and these fans pay this over here.
But see, the only problem with that is Tony Motown Island won. 15, 16, 17, 18,000 other people. Yes. Who do they gonna listen to?
Welcome to my world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
Seriously,
I
mean,
completely get it though,
I mean,
but
I can appreciate what you're saying, but until the fans ad nauseum say differently,
no, and that's the problem right now because it's like it frustrates the fuck out of me what they charging and
yeah,
they doing tonight. I'm like I hate it.
No, there
But
there is
but
there
but the WWE is in that Chicago Bears and that Chicago Cubs standpoint right now, where like they're not gonna do what's smart because
hmm
people are paying the money.
yep,
Motherfucker that's spending $400 or $500 to go see a team in Soldier Field that had just lost 10 games in a row, and that motherfucker's still packed.
yep,
there is one difference that I will point out though. Wrestling fans are not nearly as loyal to a franchise as NFL or Major League Baseball fans. There are plenty of people who will ride and die by the Bears no matter whether they win or lose. And they'll put their money down no matter how much the season sucks, no matter how much the team sucks. But there comes a point with every wrestling fan where they will look the promotion straight in the eye when they've been disappointed time and time again, and they will actually actively saying, fuck this shit, I'm out, and it will happen eventually. And Marcus, you are right that as long as people will still pay the cash, WWE will still keep doing what they do, but eventually they won't. That's the thing.
yep.
Eventually the audience may get as cynical as I am.
I agree, but until then, this is what we got, and this is what we're gonna keep getting until then.
Yeah, that's absolutely positively correct.
All right, but we're gonna move into our last subject. We got about 15 minutes left, and we're gonna wrap this up with like a tapped out and a moment for Starrcade. And I'm gonna leave this off because mine's a little different than what y'all probably did. So I'm gonna leave mine off because you have Tony Motown Allen like fucking philosophy sometimes.
All right, so you're going last?
I'm going first.
Oh, you're going first. Go ahead. I can't wait to hear this.
My Starrcade moment, and the one I picked was special for me, and it's not necessarily the best Starrcade ever. It might not say the best moments but I thoroughly enjoyed this particular show. Starrcade 88 True Grit. Less is more. 7 matches on the entire card. And I didn't think they even had 7. Fucking had the Varsity Club versus Fantastics. Okay. And I really did. I actually enjoyed that match. The Midnight Express versus Midnight Express. Cornette's Express versus Paul Lee's
Ease
Express.
Express, yeah.
Fucking enjoy that fucking shit. I'm gonna skip over the rest of the Assassin versus Junkyard Dog because I really care about this shit. And Junkyard Dog actually paid double duty because he did Buckeye Stampede in a dark match. Rick Steiner versus Mike Rotunda for the TV title. I fucking love that shit.
Yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I loved about it, it was a great match. Rick Steiner's incredible in the ring. Mike Rotunda was a fucking veteran. But when Rick Steiner won and when he's running around with you just get feel the natural, like that was his first title, his first singles title.
Mm-hmm.
And the excited he's was about it, you can feel that shit.
He was like, yes,
Rick Steiner was Eugene done right.
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Barry Windham versus Bam Bam Bigelow when Barry Windham was a horseman. I absolutely love that match with him and the Iron. I love Barry Windham. I love him with the Iron Claw, with the fucking glove. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, the Road Warriors versus Sting and Dusty Rhodes at the whole like Warriors turned heel, kind of sort of, but we all still loved them. And everybody knew Lex Luger was taking the title from Ric Flair. Guess what?
Mm-mm.
Not today.
Yep.
That pay-per-view is one of my favorite pay-per-views of all times. And that pay-per-view, and it had supposed to place in my heart because me and Sean and his dad, we all chipped in for that pay-per-view. So this was one of the first Starrcades I seen live. And that's why this is my moment of the week for Starrcade, because this wasn't one of those ones I had to wait for like 2 months later, like Marcus said. I had to wait for Starrcade video to get this later and watch it then. No, I saw this shit live. And I thought the show was incredible. Absolutely loved it. That's my moment of the week.
Moment of Starrcade.
Yes. Ty, what's your Starrcade moment?
I watched maybe 3 Starrcade matches. One of them had to be Starrcade 90, either 96 or 97. But it's, hold on, let me check. It was Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko.
Yes.
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 If y'all thought Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio at Halloween Havoc was good, this match right here was good. Malenko and Eddie, there was so much chemistry in this match. That match was the epitome of those two being allergic to putting on bad matches. That was a really good match to me, in my opinion.
Ty, if you loved that, then you would love the ECW version that happened like a year and a half before. The Guerrero Malenko classics from ECW before they went to WCW, those were like the prototype for modern wrestling. So go back and watch those, and you'll appreciate that Starrcade match even more.
Honorable mention is Akira Hokuto versus Medusa for the inaugural WCW Women's title.
Nice. Cool. Marcus.
Okay. It was a lot to choose from. Honorable mention of all the Flair matches, but there were several I enjoyed. But it was Flair versus Vader. Don't ask me. I can't remember which one it
93.
was. Okay, in the cage with Boss Man as the referee. You know, when I thought Flair had no chance of winning that title and he won it, shocked the hell out of me. But to me, my moment of WrestleMania, and I watched this match several times on VHS, I just got 2 words for you. I quit. Magnum versus Tully.
Yes.
Yeah, that match.
Oh man, that was gonna be my moment.
Yeah, that match right there. You just talk about storytelling, and when they kept that feud going by saying Tully never said I quit. He
didn't say I quit. He never said I quit.
He said
the Tully and Magnum match, was that Starrcade 85?
Yes.
With Baby Doll at ringside?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the cage. I quit.
I mean, storytelling at its finest. Look, I said I watched that. That's one of the few matches that I watched repeatedly. I thought I was gonna break something. I rewound it so many times. I mean, thoroughly enjoyed that match. That's to me maybe arguably the best match Starrcade history, arguably.
And that was one match you can only do it then. You can't do that shit again but the fact that like Tully had a legit argument, he never said the words "I quit."
Yep, great. Just great storytelling.
No, it was genius.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen. Number one, Tony and Marcus, you both got me. You beat me to the punch here. My moment of Starrcade was not only the I Quit match with Tully and Magnum, but the chair legs stabbed into Tully's head to make him to get him to end the match.
Oh my
That
God.
was my Starrcade moment because that can never be replicated. It could never
No.
be done. They tried to replicate it in AEW with the syringe thing and that lights out cage match, but it doesn't quite have the same ring to it. But yeah, that just a perfect picture of violence, storytelling, and just overall spectacle that you could possibly get in that one moment with that wooden chair leg stabbed into somebody's forehead to make them give up a match. And yes, he never said I quit. He screamed yes, but you know, when you make someone scream like a bitch, you pretty much know it's over. Now,
But it's an I quit match. He never said I quit.
I
Fuck you,
know,
Rob. He did not quit. He
I
did not
know,
quit.
I know. The heel always needs an out. But just as a side note, uh, Tony, you got your payback for the Bastion Booger thing because I have been trying to forget the end of Starrcade 88 for years. I was one of those people you would have been laughing at when Flair won because I was pissed after that match. I was so goddamn frustrated that Luger just could not get that damn title off of Flair with vice grips and a grenade. You would have been laughing your ass off at me back in the day because I was.
Because back in '88, legit, everybody know I was friends with that watched wrestling. I was the only one that said Flair was winning. I was the only one. So you can imagine how I felt. Oh my, yeah.
Well,
Oh.
feel good now because even today I am still pissed about that shit. They missed the boat with Luger. They could have at least put him over Flair once, even if it was going to be a Ronnie Garvin thing to where he only held the damn thing for 3 weeks and then gave it back to Flair just because they could have made Luger and they just never would. Never would.
But I think there's something with Luger that the reason why they put a trigger on him, though.
Well, we found out later on that he wasn't as committed to the business as he should have been, and that was it just wasn't happening with Luger. And I think Flair saw that. That's why he promised it to Sting. So yeah, but still, that ending was frustrating for me. But the ending to that cage match, the I Quit, was very satisfying. That's why that was my moment.
Yeah, the cage. You can't do that again because they don't allow it again, though.
No, never do it again.
But that was a perfect way to have somebody lose an I Quit match and still be over.
Yes.
And still not come out weak or anything like that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that happened before Terry Funk lost I Quit because Terry Funk had to say the words.
But that was perfect, though. Even without the cage and an I Quit match, for Terry Funk to have to swallow his pride whole, especially to Flair, that was just magical. And that wasn't even Starrcade.
Yeah, that was
live TV, Clash of Champions.
Clash of Champions.
Yeah. Okay, who's left for a moment?
I think
Did we get them all?
Yeah.
Okay, so
we on Tap Out.
Yes.
I'm gonna go first on Tap Out, and the reason I'm gonna go first on Tap Out is because it was the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my pick is the entire pay-per-view. It was the last Starrcade.
Oh.
24 years ago. It was 2000. Right, literally months before Vince brought this shit. Fucking Scott Steiner defeated Sid Vicious. Kevin Nash and Diamond Dallas Page beat Palamo and Sean Stasiak. Terry Funk.
Wasn't that the show where Sid destroyed his leg?
Was it Marcus?
One is don't quote me, but I think so. I'm not.
I was gonna say I think so too. Was kind of. I thought it was.
Yeah, that was one of the most horrific injuries in wrestling history. So yeah,
I mean, because it was one of those things where like when you saw that injury, you know, like wrestling what it is. But we saw a leg like snap like that. It was just like,
yeah, that was horrid.
But that pay-per-view was horrible. It was horrid.
Yes.
Like, so many people are mad that Vince brought it out and made a monopoly and everything, but where WCW was at that point, it was already dead. Vince just put the bullet in the head. He put the bullet in the head on something that was already dying. So, but the last Starrcade, God bless y'all. Y'all might tap out. Marcus, what you got?
Okay. I believe it was 1987. And my uncle took me to the Regal Theater in Chicago.
I'm gonna say that was like Starrcade Showtime Heat, right?
Take out, yes. And that was the first one. I got to watch live. And it was the Road Warriors against Arn and Tully for the world title. And mind you, the Road Warriors were my favorite tag team of all time. Actually,
wouldn't they be?
Right. Matter of fact, they were my favorite wrestlers other than Ric Flair at the time. And me, like everybody else in that theater, just knew there was no way in hell that the Road Warriors would win that title. And they didn't. But I don't know how many ever thousand people were in this Regal Theater that day. Maybe a couple, maybe. Everybody, I'm not gonna be dramatic and say it was about to be a riot, but there were mad ass people in that theater. I mean, I almost wanted to go. Luckily, the Garvin match was so good, it took my mind off it. But I was so fucking pissed. I not believe that. Not only is that my tap out for Starrcade, that's one of my 10 tap out moments in my history of watching wrestling. I mean, I was just totally upset. I felt like it was me. That's how invested I was I think I was about 15, 16 at the time, into the Road Warriors. I was just crushed.
Don't feel alone. That was one of the classic times where the dusty finish literally drove people away.
I mean, everybody in that. To this day, I'm getting a little angry thinking about it. To this day, I'm so fucking upset. It's been with me almost 30 plus years later. I can still feel the hurt from that moment. Still,
yeah. I mean, those kind of finishes were historical, but it was the bad kind of history that I later on you're glad to see it, but then it leaves a horrible taste in your mouth. Like my February 5th, 1988, the main event where the twin referees where Hogan lost the belt. That was my first live wrestling show. And that it will always be that one thing that leaves that bad taste in your mouth.
Absolutely.
So I know exactly where you're coming from there, Marcus.
Let We get everybody.
No, Ty and then me.
Oh, okay.
My tap out has to be December 17th, 2000. I was 15 years old when this happened, and it was Starrcade coming to an end.
Oh.
It was bitter. It's bittersweet because it. Well, I wouldn't say. I don't know if I would consider it bittersweet because, like I said earlier, when you think of Starrcade, you think of Greensboro, North Carolina, Greensboro Coliseum, now Greensboro Complex, and Starrcade was the pride and joy of the Carolinas. When that came to an end, that was it. It's like the end of it all. So my tap out is the end of Starrcade.
That's not a bad choice. I agree. Um, my tap out comes from Starrcade 97, and it was the fast count that wasn't, that basically started the decline of WCW and basically shot the NWO angle in the foot. The Hogan versus Sting in the match that should have been the beginning of the end for the NWO and the redemption arc for Hulk Hogan. Now, I am fully aware that Terry Bollea, the person, had creative control over the whole thing, and there's a lot of controversy as to who fucked this up. But if it was Hogan, then he made a huge mistake, because there would have been so much more money and so much more interest in the road back to Hulkamania through this match that could have been, had what really should have happened. Instead, we got a regulation count on Sting that he didn't kick out of. Hollywood Hogan legitimately beat him, and then Bret Hart looks like a dipshit on his debut, coming out there, reversing the decision for no reason whatsoever, and then putting Sting over just because. That was one of the most stupid moments in Starrcade history, and it ultimately caused a 3-year decline that would result in the finger poke of doom, Vince Russo coming in, and all of those stuff. You can point to that moment as the beginning of the NWO's death, WCW's death, and a whole bunch of other things that were irreversible
Wait,
at that
wait,
point.
wait. Are you talking about Starrcade 97, the same Starrcade 97 where Bret Hart came out and refused to let the timekeeper ring the bell?
Yes. That was supposed to be a fast count by Nick Patrick, but it was a regulation count. And
Can we
there's
just call it the
controversy
fast
as to
count?
who told him to do that.
That should have been called the fast count that shouldn't have never happened in the first place.
It was the fast count that wasn't. The idea was that it was supposed to be a fast count to show that Nick Patrick was an NWO referee and they were cheating again. And then Brett was supposed to come out, restart the match as special referee, and then count Hogan down for Sting. But the count wasn't fast. And to this day, nobody knows why it wasn't fast. And a lot of people blame Hogan. Some people blame Bischoff, and other people think that Nick Patrick was just told to do the wrong thing. But in the end, that moment was basically the first shovel of dirt on the coffin of WCW, in my view. So it gets my tap out moment for Starrcade.
I always felt like Nick Patrick didn't get the right call.
Yeah, it's entirely possible, but who knows now?
Because I just think Nick Patrick didn't get the right call, but they still kind of ran through everything like it should have went through.
Mm-hmm.
But
And it could have been so perfect too. I mean, after that match happened and Sting had the title, the NWO could have turned on Hollywood Hogan, injured him, and put him out for like 4 or 5 months. And then they could have, Wolfpack could have gone to war with Sting instead of him joining them. And then Sting could have been the beleaguered babyface champion he always needed to be back in the early 90s when they screwed that up. And then Hogan could have come back in the yellow and red and helped destroy the NWO while Sting defended the title against the next people coming through. And that would have been perfect, but instead we got that.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we're about out of time for the show,
Yes.
unless Motown's got something. No, we don't. So, on behalf of myself and on behalf of Marvelous Marcus Buckley, the Tigress Ty Nickerson, Tony Motown Allen, the Mastermind Bobby Rogers, and please check out the chat to see his special promotion that he's doing. I am your not so humble correspondent, Robert Black, saying so long for now. Thank you for being here for Old School. We'll be back with our regularly scheduled program for the first time in 2025. We will see you in the future. Hit that James Brown, baby!
Hit it. Oh, how you feel, brother?
Feeling good.
You feel good?
Feeling good. It's grooving.
Play so much bone, brother. How you feel, man?
I feel all right.
I call your name. I don't want no people to know you're in here. How you feel, fella? Hey, yeah. Sure getting down. Look at him. Ha. We're gonna have a funky good time. 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 Let's take 'em up, Fred. We gotta take you high. Yeah. Ow. All right. You wanna do it again? You wanna do it again, huh?
Yeah, let's go on back.
We gotta take you high. Yeah. Hey, brother.
Yeah.
Now I want everybody. Let Fred blow about 2 choruses, and then I want to wave you in. Let's go and do that with this now. All right.
Yeah. All right, all right.
I'm gonna get that fella with the little horn over there. You know, James Horn on me.
Let's go.
Fred, can you take us higher?
Yeah.
Take us higher.